Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking about mental health in the workplace, starting with Malak, who will be talking about normalizing conversation on mental health in the workplace. Then we will tackle attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, how it affects people suffering from this disorder, and how can we manage and limits its symptoms with Amin. Next, Halima will enlighten us on work-related stress and how to manage it. Moving on, we will discuss the importance of mental health support system and its impact on employees with Israq. And to end our discussion, I will present you with effective ways to introduce mental health as a primary policy in the workplace. Now, without further ado, let's start with our first speaker, Malak, with the normalizing conversation on mental health in the workplace.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be telling you guys reasons why it is hard to talk about mental health in the workplace. So, first of all, workers still find it challenging to talk about their mental health and well being. And according to Mental Health America, 11,000 workers across 17 industries in the United States in 2021 found that nearly 80% of workers that filled in the survey report agreed about the statement that their workplace is the cause that affects their stress. Next, it is challenging for the workers to talk about their mental health because of their setting, organizational structures, and personal characteristics such as their race, sex, immigration status, national origin, age, etc. Employees are also uncomfortable to talk to their senior leadership about their struggles with mental health. Because of the stigma in the workplace that doesn't normalize workers to talk about mental health, 8 in 10 workers prevent themselves from seeking treatment for their mental health. Not many employees feel comfortable talking about their mental health struggles because they would rather talk about issues concerning money or other topics non-related to mental health because it is still stigmatized. Employees fear that they will face discrimination from their colleagues or bosses because of the stigma mental health has in the workplace. So basically, the major factors that I talked about are because employees fear that they would be discriminated because of their race and gender and etc. They don't feel comfortable to talk about their mental health, and they would most likely try to avoid talking about their mental health struggles because of the stigma that has been put in, and wanting to blend in with the others and not feel the risk to lose their job. Next, I will be talking about the statistical information about mental health in the workplace. So, approximately 1 in 5 US adults experience a mental health condition each year. There are 30 million workers who are dealing with a mental illness. There has been an increase in the proportion of employees experiencing mental health challenges from 2019 to 2021, showing that younger and underrepresented workers still struggle the most. Many employees leave their jobs because of the overwhelming and unsustainable work. 68% of millennials and 81% of Gen Z left work for mental health reasons in 2021. In 2019, 50% of millennials and 75% of Gen Z left work voluntarily and involuntarily. There is at least one workplace factor that negatively impacts the worker's mental health, according to the 84% respondents. And 89% of UK workers report having suffered from a mental health issue because of their working life. And 13% of employees feel comfortable talking about mental illness at work. The major key factors in these informations I talked about are prove the fact that we should start normalizing mental health conversations in the workplace because of the many percentages that it shows that employees leave the workplace just because of the stress they have and the fact that they don't feel comfortable to share their mental struggles. And for the last topic I'm going to talk about are ways to help normalize conversations about mental health in the workplace. And it includes for organizational leaders, addressing the possibilities for seeking help and access mental health support in the workplace so that the workers can feel encouraged to share conversations about their mental health. Investing organizational efforts in the well being of the workplace can turn into a support effect in developing a happier, healthier, and productive workforce for the well being of an organization. Improving the working environment to support the workplace mental health, and employers should create a culture where workers can openly talk about mental health. Additionally, they should also share their own stories about mental health to reduce the stigma of misinformation about mental health to be able to normalize conversations about it in the workplace. Training supervisors should have conversations with employees about signs of mental health and by connecting them to available mental health sources to make them feel that mental health is being valued in the workplace and be able to address it openly. Also, scheduling regular check ins with employees to assess how people feel can be an opportunity for employees to feel comfortable in reaching out when they need help. Using respectful language by being mindful of the words that would not define a person by their state of mental well being should also be a must in the workplace. Also, building psychological safety that makes teams believe it is safe to speak up, take risks, admit to mistakes, and learn from failures without feeling scared to open up. And last but not least, creating a culture of well being by fostering a positive working environment with promoting good mental health practices. So, basically, what we can pull out from these ideas are that it would be a helpful way for the working environment to show that in their workplace, it is provided with necessities for people that struggle with mental health and make employers and employees feel open and relaxed and comfortable to share about their mental health struggles without feeling judged or feared that they wouldn't be listened to and discriminated. That is all I have for now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Malak, for this very insightful presentation. We really appreciate it. Moving on, we will be talking about attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder with Amin, and I will leave him the floor now.
So hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is ADHD. I'm going to talk about its obstacles and the ways to help people suffering from it to like be better at what they're doing. So basically, first of all I'm going to talk about ADHD and give it a little bit of a definition, and then I'm going to go right on to the obstacles and the ways to help with it. So basically, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental illness characterized by problems with attention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. People with ADHD may struggle to focus on tasks, organizing their work, complete projects, and meet deadlines. This can provide considerable difficulties in the office as employees are expected to manage their time, prioritize activities, and safety job obligations. People with ADHD who work in the workplace have variety of obstacles, including time management difficulty, weak organizational skills, difficulty focusing, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Uh, so first of all, I'm going to talk about the time management difficulty, because a lot of people with ADHD may struggle to efficiently manage their time, frequently being sidetracked by unrelated work or losing track of time. For example, uh, they may begin working on a project only to get diverted by an email or a phone call or phone contact, causing them to fall behind the schedule and fail deadlines. Um, the second thing I'm going to talk about is weak organizational skills, which is arranging work and keeping track of key papers which can be difficult for those with ADHD. For example, individuals may struggle to prioritize activities, forget where they store key files or documents, or have difficulties following complex instructions. Um, One thing that I forgot to talk about, which is why I chose this part of the webinar, is because I'm currently suffering from ADHD, so I know a little bit how it feels and how it works. Um, and for the organizational skills, it's pretty hard to organize myself, especially with the whole like forgetting things and forgetting where I put files, or like I cannot prioritize activities very well, which doesn't help at all to like be a better worker at the workplace. I mean, I've worked in like two jobs, and it was pretty hard to like meet the deadlines and to finish everything at time and everything. And this is a little bit caused by difficulty focusing. And people with ADHD, like me, for example, may struggle to stay focused on activities, which lead to distractions and problems finishing assignments. For example, they may struggle to focus on a work for an extended amount of time, regularly getting up from their desk to take breaks, which is always the case because I literally cannot focus for a long period of time. And uh, and regularly I get regularly up from my desk to take breaks, and I become distracted by noises or other stimuli. For example, um, a study on the as a study on by Bradberg on in 2006 stated that the incidence of ADHD reported that at least of 24% of employees on long-term sick leave due to stress-related illnesses met in the criteria of ADHD, which is pretty hard. Um, the third thing I want to talk about, the fourth thing I want to talk about is hyperactivity, which is basically just um, always like I don't know, moving or like doing something which doesn't help at all in focusing, nor in anything, like even in positivity. It's very hard to like keep up with the work and everything. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is positivity. Uh, which states that people with ADHD may suffer from impulsivity, which can contribute to a poor decision making, inappropriate conduct, and issues with social relationships. For example, they may make improper comments during meetings or interrupt people during talks, resulting in unfavorable social effects, which is basically the whole thing behind ADHD, which people who suffer from it are pretty impulsive, and we like to interrupt people when they're, it's not like we like, but just the fact that we want to make our point valid, which makes us interrupt people while they're giving their point, or like making improper comments which shouldn't be in that situation. And the last thing I want to talk about in the obstacles that face ADHD workers basically is impaired memory. So basically, um, those with ADHD may struggle with short-term memory, resulting in forgetfulness and trouble recalling crucial facts. For example, they may forget key deadlines, meetings, or information from discussions, and this is not only a problem with the workplace. It's valid uh, in every place possible, either in classrooms, in like while meeting with friends, or any social aspects of life. It's This part is present, and it's very hard to to basically remember what like crucial points and everything. um so while ADHD can cause difficulties at work, with the right supports and treatments, people with ADHD can flourish. um and let's give some particular tactics and examples to that might help people with ADHD manage their symptoms and excel at work, based on some personal experience and based on like very known facts. So the first thing is medication, behavioral therapy, flexibility, and workplace support. So for the medication, stimulants drugs such as Adderall or Ritalin can assist enhance concentration and attention. For example, a person with ADHD who has difficulty concentration on their personal professional activities may benefit from the medications to assist them to concentrate. But it's the problem that I find with these medications are is that they're pretty addictive. So if you get hooked up to them, it's pretty hard to get off. um the second way to treat basically ADHD and to help people who suffer from it be better workers and flourish in their workplace is behavioral therapy, which the full name is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which can assist patients in learning coping methods to control ADHD symptoms, such as, for example, establishing organizational skills and time management tactics. For example, a person with ADHD can work with a therapist to develop a schedule or a task list that can help them prioritize and manage their work responsibilities. Um, Again, I'm going to give like a personal experience. When I learned that I had ADHD, um, I started going more to my therapist and seeing him more, and he like told me that I should do, for example, a to-do list that can help me like figure out the tasks of each day. Another thing that is very helpful in the workplace, which is flexibility. For example, the worker the employer can help the employee focus who has ADHD focus more by just like giving him for example giving him uh work the ability to work from home or modify their work schedule to allow for breaks to manage symptoms. The last thing I want to talk about is the workplace support, which is basically a supportive workplace, supportive coworkers, supportive um, supervisor, which can again really help with the whole thing. Um, and that's it. Thank you so much, guys. and I'm gonna leave the floor for Mena to present the
Thank you, Amy, for your very insightful presentation, and we would like to thank you specifically for sharing your experience. I'm sure it was very beneficial for the people watching us today. Well, next, I'm gonna leave the floor for Halima to talk about work-related stress and ways to manage it properly.
Thank you, Manal. Before I share my thoughts, I would like to start with the quote that captures the essence of what I want to say. Um, the quote say that it's not the load that breaks you down; it is how you carry it. According to a quote by Lou Holtz. So it seems to imply that how we deal with stress matters more than of how much of it we are under. So I agree with this statement because stress management techniques can be found even when we are carrying heavy loads. For example, for the past 2 years, I have worked part-time jobs and felt overstressed by my workload. So, as you know, many students and uh, workers have experienced something similar before. So we must therefore talk about effective stress management and coping mechanisms for use in our daily lives. So first, I'm gonna answer this question. What do we mean by work-related stress? So, in common terms, the word work related stress is frequently used to refer to mental health and emotional conditions like depression and anxiety that are brought on by job demands. And it happens when persons' capacity to handle the demands for of their job is exceeded, which results in feelings of overwhelm. So, stress at work may result in unpleasant symptoms. For example, a worker might have a clear idea of their tasks when the day begins, but as the day goes on, um, more responsibilities are added, even though this is not necessarily a problem if it only happens occasionally. But if it happens frequently, it can have significant negative impacts on stress symptoms over time. So, in order to keep work related stress from having negative impacts on one's mental and physical health, it's crucial to manage it effectively. So, in this segment of the webinar, I will share some tips on managing stress as well as identify the root causes of workplace stress and address them effectively. So, let's explore what factors contribute to your stress levels while on the job. So, first, I would introduce some findings from the Gallup States of the Global Workplace 22, 2022 reports released in 2021, which say that 6 out of 10 workers experience stress. So, 60% of workers experience emotional detachment at work, and 19% report ongoing misery. These figures surpass those that were released in 2020. So people work um, people work an average of 81,396 hours per year. So the report emphasizes that since people spend a considerable amount of time working, it's a concerning issue that needs to be addressed. And apart from being an avoidable aspect of life, stress is something that we can um, manage effectively to prevent it from becoming overwhelming by learning about manage our own tasks level. So it's crucial to identify the root causes of workplace stress before exploring stress management strategies. So let's pinpoint specific reasons for workplace stress and then why not find ways to address them. So following four are some of the most common causes. First, we have workload, such as you can find like heavy workloads, tight deadlines, and excessive responsibilities. Those are all reasons that can lead to stress in the workplace. And second, we have interpersonal issues such as conflicts with colleagues or supervisors. Also, bullying or harassment can lead to stress as well. And the third point is work-life balance. When there is an imbalance between work and the personal life, this it can lead to stress and burnout. And finally, we have job security. So, concerns about job security or employment prospects can lead to stress and anxiety. So, here we go. In this section, I will be discussing targeted approach to managing workplace stress. So join me as we explore effective strategies to reduce costs associated with workplace stress. So here are some ways to address the stress. So the first one is to analyze the reason why you felt unsupported. So in this part, I'm gonna talk about lack of support mainly. So the feeling of being unsupported is the first topic to be covered. This can happen when a person feels their boss or superiors don't support their ideas, or when they do, they don't feel supported by those in their immediate environment such as families, housemates, etc. So, it's important to think about causes of this kind of stress when you are going through it. And it's conceivable that one's perception is causing them to feel unsupported. Also, it's possible that those close to them are dealing with personal difficulties that make it difficult for them to offer support that is needed. Thus, it's crucial to consider the circumstances of those around them in order to ascertain whether the lack of support is matter of perception or reality. So, if it's reality, then maybe second one will help you. And second one is about expanding your support. Because we rely on a few people for support, we might occasionally feel unsupported. It might be a good idea to think about strengthening our network of support. We might feel like we have no one to turn to. For example, if we only confide in one coworker and they are preoccupied with their own issues right now. So to resolve this, we could try contacting other coworkers who might be able to give us the motivation we require. Uh, or yeah, bring ourselves out there to other people might help us feel less alone. And thirdly, it's maybe you need to challenge your limits. Yeah, it's maybe you should think about going beyond your perceived boundaries, and it might be time to become more independent and self-reliant if you are experiencing lack of support, and certainly regarding your ideas. So also, while it's critical to be aware of our limitation, it's also beneficial to push them, as limits can help us measure where we stand right now. And finally, the basic tip is time management. By giving you enough time to finish tasks and meet deadlines. So, effective time management can help you feel less stressed, and also set priorities such as create schedule and abstain from daily tasks. You can use your an agenda for planning, for instance, to schedule your day, establish reasonable deadlines, and divide more complex tasks into simpler ones. Uh, Also, communication. Yeah, so try to talk to your boss or coworkers about the heavy work or resources constraints in order to avoid misunderstanding and conflicts. So, thank you for listening to my thoughts, everyone. Now, I would like to turn the floor over Ishraq to share her perspective on support programs.
Well, thank you, Halima, for your very useful tips on how to manage stress. I'm sure a lot of people would have benefited from what you have shared with us today. Well, next we will go on and talk about support systems and mental health support systems with Ishraq.
Thank you, Manal. I will be talking about mental health support programs. But before, we must be reminded that psychological programs are a big factor behind low productivity or quality of work. Many workplaces can be described as a toxic environments due to the high levels of gender or ethnic discrimination. So, in addition to the pressuring and unstable job markets, this is because people suffering from mental health issues experience drop in confidence and the rise in absenteeism. In fact, the World Health Organization reports that every year 12 billion working days are wasted because of the absences slowly related to depression and anxiety. So for the next, we have uh, while the importance of mental health is acknowledged, very few benefits are offered, and employees find it very difficult to access mental counseling. So, which is we can see in the slides, uh, which is why many support programs have been put into place to protect the collaborator mental health and the company's interests. Now, while people argue about the impact of these programs, studies have shown that 66% of workers claim that using the system offered by the company made them feel better. Plus, 80% of workers affirm that they will assess their next job based on the mental health benefits they offered. These programs help improve the communication between colleagues and the top management. Furthermore, sustaining healthy environment is key to higher profits. hence offering similar approaches to the ones that will be mentioned later is investment that will not only spread good dynamics within the team but also a financial investment that will pay off greatly. So for the programs that we see, that the World Health Organization insists the importance of mental health in the workplace through their guidelines on mental health at work publication. They recommend training for both manager and employees, in addition to intervention when necessary. While they mention screening programs, they affirm that it's unclear whether or not they are indeed helpful. The book also feature recommendation for the people gaining or returning to work after mental health issue. So these guidelines are used to create different programs to assess the employees. Now, let us introduce some of these programs that companies can use to improve the well-being of their employees. So here, as we can see, we have the three programs. So first of all, we can see employees assistance programs. So employees assistance programs, they give workers access to mental health services, including counseling and treatment, as well as express referrals. So there are services that employees offer their staff members to help them to get access to mental health care. So they offer counseling, treatment, and specialist referrals for workers who are having mental health issues. Also can help with a variety of different work related problems, including stress, substance misuse, family concerns, monetary hardships, legal trouble, and more and more. So they are frequently included in an employee's benefits package, and a mental health professional may deliver the services both on and offset. To assist staff in improving their mental health, may also offer educational programs. Also, we're gonna move on the next support programs is stress management programs. They can assist workers in lowering stress level and the health concerns come with them. So this program introduced so many activities such as yoga, meditation, mindfulness exercises, progressivity, muscle relaxation, self-hypnosis, and other campaign mechanisms can be incorporated into stress management programs. So programs may also contain instructional elements to teach staff members more about stress and the effective campaign mechanism, as well as activity to support general wellness, including exercises, good nutrition, and downtime. So support group may also be a part of the programs, allowing staff members to talk about their experience with stress and exhaustion, advice on how to cope. So access to professional counseling and other mental health treatments may occasionally be provided as a part of stress management. Finally, some businesses may provide their staff members with access to online and telephone hotline for mental health support. Also, finally, we're gonna see the final support program that is mindfulness training. So employees who receive this type of training learn to maintain present moment focus, which can lower stress and boost outputs. So employees who receive mindfulness training learn how to pay attention to their thought, feelings, and physical sensation, as well as how to respond to them without passing judgments. Employees who receive this kind of training may find it easier to regulate their stress level and concentrate better on their work as a result of their increased emotional awareness. Also, mindfulness training can teach staff members how to be more conscious of their sounding. So, how their words and deeds affect others, and how to react more effectively in challenging circumstances. Also, practicing mindfulness can improve task prioritization, time management, and general productivity for workers. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Halima, for Ishraq, I'm sorry, for your contribution. It was very insightful, and I bet a lot of our audience have enjoyed it. Well, um, coming next, we will be talking about how to integrate mental health in the workplace. There are various ways one can use to promote and integrate mental health as a main pillar within the professional sphere. Today, with the aid of the data I have gathered, I will present you with the most crucial and effective techniques, starting with training managers for mental health. Um, According to the WHO's suggestions, managers must receive a training regarding regarding mental health to help them better understand and respond to the employees going through emotional hardships. As Jerome Scholz, a clinical neuropsychologist and a lecturer at Harvard Medical School, have stated, it is important for managers to be trained to recognize the signs of emotional distress so they can react in a supportive rather than a punitive way. In other words, managers must be able to listen actively and communicate effectively with staff experiencing mental health issues. Additionally, they should also try and help prevent such events from happening in the first place by either running regular surveys to check on the overall well-being, or just communicating with their employees or supervisees. Um, Next, we will be talking on normalizing discussion on mental well-being among employees. Malak have already discussed this point previously on a more broad sense. However, now it's more about employees and how can we encourage those employees to communicate and describe their feelings better among each other. Uh, well, we have said before that normalizing conversation on mental well-being is in the workplace is fundamental, especially among employees, and this could be achieved according to Julie Raw, an editor and the online magazine understood.org. She stated that this could be achieved by frequently reminding the staff of the importance of mental well-being and how they can communicate and discuss their feelings using newsletters or emails every now and then, or just organizing events where people are invited to talk and communicate more. Um, Third, I will be talking about including employees in decision-making process. Employees must be included in the decision-making process because, and according to the American Psychological Association, 48% of employees agree that the lack of involvement in decision-making make them more stressed and causes them emotional distress. Another study conducted by the same association have shown that when included in the decision-making process, employees are more encouraged to work and are in general more productive, as they are more likely to remain in their jobs. Therefore, managers must encourage input from employees either by asking them directly or inviting them to participate in anonymous surveys if they're not comfortable enough with speaking openly. Fourth, uh, uh, the fourth technique that I will be presenting to you today is making the working conditions as flexible as possible. What I mean by that is the working conditions should be flexible to the employees if they prefer to work at home or they prefer a remotely working style. That should be granted by the company. Um, and why? Because according to the Work and Well-being Survey, 34% of employees agree that flexible hours can help improve their well-being and their mental health in general. And according to the October 2021 Gallup poll, 54% of employees working remotely said that they would like to divide their time between their home and family. While 11% say that they want and they prefer to keep working from home full time. The American Psychological Association argued that flexibility in the workplace increases employees' productivity and makes them feel psychologically safe, included, and most importantly, heard. Lastly, um, managers Managers must ensure equity, diversity, and inclusion policies among employees, as their neglection might impact tremendously employees' mental well-being. Other than that, studies have shown over and over again that how diversity benefits the professional sphere in general and makes employees more likely to be productive and once again keep their jobs. We will once again refer to the American Psychological Study with news. American Psychological Association, I'm sorry, with a study that shows and proves that diverse companies make up to $1,590 per employee. This proves just how much mental health is such a main factor to productivity and income for any company. Diversity in the workplace encourages employees to work more efficiently and contribute better professionally. Now, all of these steps that I have talked about have a common theme, which is to make sure that the employee is clearly heard and seen. The most important factor that would help companies promote mental health and well-being effectively is listening to their employees actively and granting them a safe and non-toxic working environment. As at the end of the day, it's just about communicating effectively and listening to each other, and of course, being kind to one another. Well, with this, I will be concluding our talk today on mental health and well-being. Thank you all for listening and joining. And I would like to thank the speakers that were present with me today, Malak, Amin, and Halima and Ishraq, for their very insightful and informative interactions. Thank you all once again, and have a good day.
Thank you. Merci.